Welcome back to the Armory today. Today we're going to talk about a little known handgun that is the champion of 2 world wars, has a 7-round capacity, and does not have a history of ever jamming on any type of ammunition ever. Today, backed by popular demand, we're going to take an in-depth look at the Russian Nagant Revolver. This first entered service in 1895. It is a Belgian design from the Nagant company and is chambered in 7.62 by 38R. Now, I've briefly touched on this in a couple other videos, and a friend of mine actually asked, who is a revolver enthusiast. He had no idea what the Nagant Revolver is. So we're going to go a little bit in depth with a video on this. If you'd like more of the history of this gun, Othias and the Primer series has a 1-hour video about the history of the Nagant Revolver, where a lot of the designs came from, the adoption into the Russian military. And the Russian military actually used this as a primary sidearm in the First World War and as more of a secondary sidearm in the Second World War, but they had many of these on hand throughout, and I believe production ended in 1945. And for about 20 years, these were available from importers, very cheap on the market. Ammo was very hard to find. It is a very unique type of ammo. This is what is considered a gas seal revolver, and we'll get into what a gas seal revolver is when we look a little deeper at it. But it is a very unique firearm, and I think it's a unique piece of history. It is a fairly soft shooting revolver. It does not have overwhelming stopping power. It's not an armor piercing round. It's nothing at all fancy. It's a very small caliber, 7.62, not traveling at any great velocities, not having any great stopping power, takedown, recoil, all that. It is just a very small, handy revolver. So, let's get a little deeper into this, shall we? Alright, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the basic disassembly of this gun. Now, this is a gate-loaded revolver. It is a 7-round. This one is empty. There's no ammo in it or at my desk. Now, first step in disassembly, you have this little locking shaft, and you just twist it. It's threaded and captured, so you can't take it out and lose it. But this little takedown lever will come out, and then you slide the whole assembly. This whole little sleeve slides over, and you can see this is the actual axle for the cylinder. And this little axle, line it up just right, and this little axle comes right out. So this is what holds the cylinder in the gun. So next you just open the gate and the whole cylinder just falls out right into your hand. So there's absolutely nothing special about this. Holds 7 rounds and it's pretty basic. Now, if we come back to the body of the gun, everything is captured basically the same as a regular revolver. You have your leaf springs set up inside the handle. Everything's pretty basic, except, like I was saying in the other video, this is what's considered a gas seal revolver. Now, all revolvers will have a gap between the cylinder and the barrel, and the bullet physically jumps from the cylinder into the barrel with just inertia powering it down the barrel. Now, the gas seal was designed so smaller cartridges would not lose gas pressure as the bullet leaves the cylinder and transfers into the barrel. Now, with this gun and the ammunition associated with this gun, let me show. I've got a empty case. Now, with this, the bullet is actually seated inside the case from the factory. There is no exposed bullet coming out of the case. So the whole bullet is inside the case, and when the case is inserted into the cylinder, it actually protrudes beyond the cylinder as such. Now, with that, when the action cycles, and I'll show you this with it in as well as out, when you pull the hammer back, there's a little forcing piece up here that physically pushes the cylinder forward and mates it up against the end of the barrel. When that happens, the end of the brass physically seats inside the forward edge of the barrel. That allows all of the energy from the case to travel the whole length of the barrel as such. That way, you do not have gases expelled from the cylinder, between the cylinder and the frame. All the gases are still used to force the bullet down the barrel. So, with that explained, the one thing I do have a problem with this gun is the trigger is atrocious. Now, it's got a fairly stout breakaway, but it is the heaviest trigger you could ever imagine. In single action or double action, the trigger is extremely heavy. I would prefer to fire the gun in single action, but either way it's operated, it is extremely stiff. Now, that is just one of the features of this gun. It does not have a smooth or generous trigger, and it's just kind of the way it is. It's the one thing you really just have to live with. Like I said, that you can definitely feel when you pull it back, you definitely hit a breakaway point, and you know the breakaway point, but it is extremely heavy triggered. So let's put the cylinder back in, and I'll show you how this gas sealing works. So we just slide it in there until it gets into its position. We're going to take the axle of the cylinder and take just a little bit till everything lines up perfectly, and it just slips right back down into its position like that. Turn this whole collar right back over, slide it in, and it's about a half turn to lock it back into place, and that's how it's done. Now, the loading gate is there to load and unload, and one nice thing is this little takedown rod right here can also aid in the extraction of spent cases. So that helps a little bit. Russian ammunition is known for being steel case, and it does like to stick. So having that little plunger ability to pop spent cases out that may be a little stuck is very nice to have. So, with the gun reassembled, let's look at the camming feature with a little camming block up here that moves the cylinder forward. So, let me see if I can get, there we go. So you can see the gap in the cylinder right there. Now, as you pull the hammer, we saw the block come out, and you can see right there, the cylinder moves forward and seals up with the barrel. And that's how you get your gas seal, with the case protruding beyond the length of the cylinder, and the cylinder being pushed into the end of the barrel. When the case is fired, that end of the brass stays in the barrel, and all the gases are expelled down the revolver. So, that is what is unique about the Nagant Revolver. It's a very fun revolver. I have a brief video on a special type of reloading for this ammunition, where I reload it to be more of a conventional type of ammunition. You do lose the gas seal, but it is much easier to reload now that ammunition's becoming a thing, especially in unique types of ammunition. It is becoming very difficult to find the unique ammunition. So I reload this in a much shorter case. The case is trimmed down considerably, and a conventional bullet and style is assembled, and it works fabulously. So, if you'd like more information on this, like I said, Othias has a video, and of course he goes into the great in-depths of the mechanical and the history and all the stuff that he is expertly known to do. And his video is fantastic. So I would recommend, if you like the Nagant Revolver and you are fascinated by firearms history, I would absolutely recommend going to his channel and checking out the video there. For that is the Nagant Revolver. Also, years ago, I was actually able to find fitted holsters. I did not buy this revolver with all of its wartime accessories. It was basically the revolver by itself when I purchased it. So having a nice holster, even though I rarely wear the holster, it's nice to keep the gun safe and keep it from being banged around or damaged in any other way. And it's a very nice fitted holster, specifically made for the Nagant Revolver. I don't know if these are available anymore, but it is a very, very nice fitted holster. So, there's the basics of the Nagant Revolver. It's a very fun revolver to shoot. Like I said, there is very little recoil. There's very, very fun to shoot. If the trigger were better, it would be probably shot a whole lot more. But I have other revolvers that have way better triggers, and ammunition is much easier to come by. So, sadly, it doesn't make it to the range as often as I would like it to. But it is definitely a nice addition to my collection. So, now, in the late 20s, the Soviets looked at upgrading their pistols and their sidearms with something more modern, semi-automatic. And this is eventually what they came up with. And this is totally not a Russian complete copy of a 1911. So, if ergonomics are your thing, this pistol is probably not for you. It is a semi-automatic handgun, and it is chambered in 7.62 Tokarev, which is a neck down bottleneck cartridge in 7.62 or 30 caliber. And this gun is, again, very fun to shoot. Nothing really to write home about. It's a semi-automatic. It works and functions like you would, but much like all these old pistols and unique calibers, ammunition for 7.62 Tokarev can be very difficult to find. So, as with most, it doesn't make it to the range very much anymore. This one is a Romanian, what is considered a TTC. When they were first adopted, it was the TT30. Then some basic changes were made, and it was revised to the TT33. And the TT33 is basically where it was adopted and stayed through its service life until the Makarov, I believe in the 1960s, replaced it. So, one nice feature of this one is it does have a half-cock safety, which locks the slide, it locks the trigger, and the gun cannot be manipulated or fired in any way. It is your basic semi-automatic pistol. A lot of Browning design cues in this. The pistol grip is kind of short for my liking, and with that, its capacity is 7 rounds in a single stack magazine in the pistol grip. And there's not a whole lot to say about these. They are solid guns. They are known for their reliability, famous Russian reliability. You can drag it through the mud and it will still function and operate just as intended. It is a very fun gun to shoot, but because of ammo scarcity, it very rarely sees the range anymore, and that is it's a shame. So much like the Nagant, when I purchased the Tokarev, I purchased it just as the pistol. Didn't come with any of the military holsters, tools, anything. But I was able to find, again, a fitted holster for the Tokarev, which again is very nice. Keeps the firearm nice and safe. Doesn't get scratched or dented or dinged. Very nice little fitted holster. So, there's the firearms of the USSR for the First and Second World War in their glory. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.